Yo, what's up, Nick?
Hello, mate.
All right, cool. So when did we do this? It was 2023.
Yeah.
23, right?
Yeah.
Tell me just about the track. Just where it come from, why you write it, why then? Just give some context. What's going on?
I know from the working title that I wrote it on the 23rd of November.
Okay.
I was in a complex, bad relationship at the time, not an emotional relationship, one with sort of soft borders, and was like, I need to remove myself from this and change some things.
Yeah.
But I didn't want it just to be that. I was like, maybe I'll write another song after that that's super uplifting, where I feel like I have this boundless potential to make things better.
When you say soft borders, what do you mean by that?
There was like a professional aspect that leaked into a financial aspect, that leaked into an emotional aspect, that leaked into a platonic friendship.
Got it. Right.
Yeah,
So it was a little
yeah.
fuzzy and a little hard to define it. That's what you mean by soft, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, things sort of leaked in. It was a complex thing to remove myself from.
Yes. Got it.
A breakup of sorts.
Yes.
But I also knew that eventually I would feel really, really positive and just heaps of opportunity at what might happen after. And it kind of made sense for them to both be in the same song. But instead, as I guess we'll get into, it just sort of became somewhere between two songs and one song.
Right. Did you write, like chronologically, was it all sort of written a bit like piecemeal? Did you have different parts, or was it like you wrote the initial bit and then the later bit?
I wrote the initial bit and I wanted it maybe to morph into a bridge that was just this big euphoric rise until the end. But the way it happened is that I finished a chorus. I didn't know how to get into this build. So I just thought, well, we can just have a moment of silence.
Yes. Yeah.
And then just hop back in. Yeah.
Do the thing.
Yeah.
In your case, it's the song, and then you have a sort of almost a coda at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the same key, you know, the instrumentation, it feels cohesive.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes trying too hard to make something structurally make sense is a little bit like, how do I just make it the generic acceptable sort of rock song structure?
Yes. Gotcha.
Which it doesn't have, it's okay.
Yes.
You can have guitars and drums and stuff,
Gotcha.
but it doesn't have to be chorusy, bridgey, versey exclusively.
Let's talk about the demo. So chronologically, I came into the project already after you had been doing or you'd done a bunch of demos. Like,
Yeah, I'd done a bunch of demos that I probably had formed a little too much. I think we spoke about that.
yes, yeah, we did. I think we talked about that. And you were on tour at the time, right?
I was on tour at the time, like pretty consistently. So
Yeah.
I think our process was probably hard to be collaborative some of the time.
Yeah, or at least it was by correspondence, which
Yes.
I feel like is a fairly common occurrence. But I know that was my first time doing a project like that. Was it similar for you? Or?
It was, and we weren't calling, we were just emailing.
Yeah,
because we
that's right.
had a time difference.
Yeah, because you were in Europe, I guess, right?
Yeah, so I think that actually resulted in both of us making slightly bigger creative decisions by ourselves.
So then, in terms of all of the demos were created chronologically, was this song at the beginning of the demoing process? Was it sort of middle, end, or did you just chop through and do them as you felt like it?
I think it's the third song of a 4-track EP, and it was the third song I wrote.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I sort of just go.
You did hard chronology.
I do. I just go that way because I'm just too like goal orientated.
Yes,
it's like, how do I get this thing?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes. The first one is the one I wrote first, so I will do the demo first.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
Maybe if the one before it was angry, this one should be not angry, or like.
Got it.
Very basic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you did the demos yourself. You did them just at home.
I did them at home. I think most of them I did at home. I think a bunch of it I probably did on planes and stuff. I think I recorded some guitars at home, and some bass, and the rest was just MIDI. Yeah, largely at home.
Yes. I mean, when you were writing these tracks, what were you listening to? Did you have any sort of like rough ideas for references, anything like that?
Yeah, I was listening to Death Cab for Cutie a lot, and there's this song, I think it's called Foxglove Through the Winter.
Yeah.
From the last album.
The was a man who used to live by the ocean.
Where it's kind of, yeah, it's spoken word, but I didn't really think about it being a spoken word piece of art. There's talking in an indie rock song.
Yes.
And like, I really love poetry being recited. And I was also listening to this Nick Cave song called Rings of Saturn a bunch.
Over the shops and the cars and the crowds and the town.
So there wasn't really pre-production, I guess. I guess our version of pre-production was just those meetings which we had, the emails that we sent back and forward, and just getting acquainted with the demos. But by the time we actually sort of got into like main production, the only sort of changes I feel like that were getting made were when we were actually cutting the actual tracks from memory, or maybe just slightly beforehand, when we got, because we sent the tracks to Clayton, Allen, and Josh Spalk. Clayton's the drummer and Josh is the bass player. And they did some contributions a little bit before. I think Clay did a bunch of his own.
Clay did.
Yeah, he did some demoing, yeah.
Because our demo just had sort of a straight ahead rock beat on it.
Yeah.
And I wanted something kind of, yeah, more like Ringo-esque. Just something a little more broken and staggered and open.
Yes.
And so I kind of spoke to him about that, and he sent through a bunch of options that were really cool.
One other thing, I guess, before we maybe start having a look at the actual track itself, the genre in which this EP and your music is, which I guess, genres are always so plastic, but I guess you can roughly call it kind of like indie rock-ish, roughly, whatever.
Without thinking too hard, I'd probably just call it like, indie rock, boom boom car.
Yeah, exactly.
Guitars and stuff. Yeah.
I kind of think, does the band look like the Beatles? It's a rock something.
More than it looks like.
Weather
Report.
Or like Tiesto.
Yeah, totally.
There's a degree of expectation in terms of the like human organic-ness of it all, I suppose.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the projects that I've been involved in, which are more straightforward kind of pop. This seems to me more like there needs to be a bit of a band involved. I think I initially pushed for, I want as many people on the floor of a recording studio recording at the same time to try and get a vibe going on. And that ended up being, just cutting the rhythm section together.
So probably to preface, like, we all met at jazz school. So we've played together heaps, and we've played an improvised collaborative kind of music.
Yes.
We all listen and we hang and talk about music.
Yeah.
We hadn't rehearsed or anything, but we know how everyone sounds.
Yeah.
And to that extent, we wrote to it. And I knew Josh would bring 12 bass guitars for 4 songs. And everyone's going to play together really good.
Yeah.
So, by choice, you go for as collaborative as possible. And just quickly, the benefit of this not being any sort of commercial venture is that no one's making any money anyway. So there's no reason to be like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, but I wrote this drum part and yours might. But none of that. That's none of that. None of that shiz.
True enough.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that feels substantial for the moment for the background. So why don't we sort of jump in?
Let's jump.
Okay. Well, we're in the session now. Let's just have a little bit of a play and just listen for a minute.
Descended for many years from the bottom of the world. A friendly pair of eyes appeared. We swam on through the water. They told me how to breathe. It was here I grew to love what lies beneath. I found my place
Yeah, nice. Let's just have a look at what's going on here with drums, wires, and everything. So I'm going to open up these. Cool. So we have what? Kick drums. What? We got 2 kick drum mics. Yep. Kick in, kick out. That sounds like a friggin' sample, but it's not. It's not. It's just a whole bunch of crazy drum processing to, make it work. Oh, lots of things. I'm not going to get too bogged down, really. I think this is just, for me anyway, for the most part, the drum sound, I just tried to make it sound kind of pretty clean and sort of 70s-ish, I guess, roughly. I think that's sort of what Clay was. Well, I mean, that's one of the big things he's really, really amazing at. That's part of the reason we got him, I think, is for that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think I was a bit of a stickler about like drums being pretty analog.
I think I'm just going to play the whole thing is all the effects and stuff I put on it after. Drum room there, and then I think this is the main one. Big spring, which I think really is the sound, to be honest. A big part of this record is that there's a lot of like just water stuff going on.
I was about to say, yeah, it's underground and sort of cavernous.
Yeah.
And literally wet.
Very wet. Very wet.
And
indeed.
I think something you're awesome at is production choices always still sort of aiding the narrative.
Yeah.
So like if we're underwater, let's use some sort of like spring reverb that sounds like we're in a well.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of something super, super clean and predictable.
Yeah, like as I'm going through and I'm trying stuff, there's that initial, how am I going to treat these instruments or whatever? What's the actual song trying to tell me to do? And I don't overthink it. I stopped overthinking it a while ago. If it's trying to be wet and stuff, then just make it kind of sound like that. Like there's nothing wrong with actually leaning into it.
You can put reverb on a kick drum. It will just sound like a kick drum with reverb.
With reverb on it.
The police will not come to the door. It's fine.
Sorry, Ari, you put reverb on your kick drum. I'm gonna have to take it away. Yeah, no, that didn't happen, thankfully. It's funny. I really did go above and beyond, I will say. So I went through and it's kind of like it is a metal production technique. Yeah. What can I say? Apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Where you literally go through and you create a transient, which I think is just like an 808 click, rim click or something. You use that to open a gate. And so it's really, really sample accurate, right? And my thinking behind that is that I'm going to put up a bunch of reverb on it. Anyway, I'm going to do this effecty thing. So I think that's when I leaned into doing the drums like that from memory. I'll just do a quick run across, snare. Overheads and rooms. There was a front of kit mic, which I use sometimes. I pretty much only use that, as you can see here. I turn it up in the chorus. And that's been crunched up a lot. So I turn that on and off as I need it. And you can see it's out basically in these verses and then it's in. And then we did some cymbals as overdubs. Reverse. Cool. So, that's drums. Mostly just that reverb, that spring reverb, which for the nerds, this is it. Springs by Audio Thing. Yay. Great. Really good spring reverb. I think this is literally the first one and I just did some stuff to it.
Nothing crazy. Also, we had Clay's a very dynamic drummer, which no matter how much you process the source, it just,
It's all about, I don't remember editing this for very long. I don't remember editing it very much. So that's drums. We'll do bass. There's like a DI track, of course. And then we had an Ampeg B15, like the old flip top amp. And then I ended up just using a SVT plugin, and it just for whatever reason it just sounded better, so I just did it. I know that I would have agonized about this in previous sessions, like, oh no, we've gone to the trouble of recording this, blah blah blah. You want to use everything, right? You want to use it. The performance is what matters, and what comes out of the speakers matters, right? We care about the playing. I think the sound of it is obviously important, but you know, whatever works in the track.
Josh also very dynamic, like intentional bass player. And Josh and Clay obviously have like a pretty long, close musical relationship too.
They've been playing for, we've all been playing for a long
In heaps
time.
of settings together.
Yeah, they've played for a while.
Yeah, like that stuff went in really nicely.
Yes. Let's have a listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It's doing the thing.
Totally.
I think he was playing some. It's this hollow body bass he has from memory. I
There's
feel
a
like
bunch. It's like a Gibson recording bass
Yeah,
or
it's- I
something
can't
very
recall.
Josh.
if I'll send him a message and hit him up about it, and I'll put a photo or whatever.
Yeah. There was a
I'll
bunch
put
of
something
stuff
in there.
that day.
Yes, there was a bunch of different basses. You can see there's a bass distortion track which I lean into. I don't do anything with it until chorus 2. That sounds like this. Just, look.
High pass, decapitate. Yeah,
It just works.
yeah.
It just works. So this is in parallel. So that's just for a bit more oomph to make the second chorus sound a bit bigger. And then you can see in the build, I have some automation here so that it gets grimier as it goes along. Arrgh. That's cool. That's the bass. Sounds like bass. Cool. I'm just going down the line. Acoustic guitar. I feel like this would have been here.
We did it in this room.
Yes.
We did.
We did, I think, almost all the guitars.
Almost all the guitars we did in here. I dare say maybe a couple things from a demo just made it. I
Maybe.
think the process is like replace things as we go.
Yeah, I
If
think
they
that's
require it. I think also you played a bunch because I just couldn't get my little fingies to do it.
I think this one would have been you playing it from memory, but anyway, let's find out.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. I've stolen this from you.
What do you mean you stole it?
Just like because we recorded, what, eighths on each side and then we delayed them, right? Or
Yep,
16ths
yep.
or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Just because we wanted that sparkly, tremolo-y thing, but without just getting all the picky stuff.
So we recorded as essentially a double with you just playing straight
Chick, 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 chick.
quavers,
Yeah.
eighth notes.
Eighths.
And then we just did it again and I just shifted it by,
Move one by a 16th,
by
right?
16th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Semi-quaver.
So, yeah. Then we're getting chugga, 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 chugga.
And then we did that twice, I feel, because there's
Yeah.
there's a high part.
Yeah.
And it only happens in the right.
Yes. It's kind of like Celtic or something, the way there's a pedal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that.
That would have originally been like a ridiculous amount of tracks.
At least 4.
At least 4, you're right. And then I would have just committed that down. So that's acoustic guitar. Sounds like an acoustic guitar. Works for this. Very, very simple. Cool. Now we get to one of the main elements, I guess, the clean guitars. So we have this, which is all dry, and then I have a wet version of it from memory.
Yes.
And they're panned very deliberately, if you can look at it, that the dry is kind of more to the left, and the wet is to the right. And that's a big that's the thing I was really, really keen on doing because I just think it sounds really, really nice and wide.
We love wide, wet guitars.
We do like wide, wet.
I remember sending a mix to a friend who's
Yeah.
a great musician from a very well-known band. And he was like, man, there's too much stuff on the left. And I was like, no, that's fine. There can be.
First chorus. So that sounds like a different guitar, or at least a different pickup on the same guitar. I don't know. What do you think? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure we used your Strat.
This one. Yay. Yeah.
And we ran through Neural a lot, like
Yeah.
Archetype soft amps.
From memory, I think it doesn't matter what pickup it is, but I remember that I found the spot in the room that had the least amount of just hum in it.
Always. Yeah, because it's played really pretty soft, and also
Yeah.
there's a lot of like sustain.
There is, that's true.
We also, when we record guitars, we use a lot of like we use felt on strings that we don't want to ring out.
Yeah, which again, it's
Go
all just over
through-
there.
Very strange looking guitar picks that are made from all sort of
Yeah, that's true.
subterranean textures and materials.
Yeah.
But we were pretty anal about everything to do with, I think when you're going for cleanliness
Yeah.
and in tune and close,
Yes,
you kind of have to be,
you got to be a bit anal about it.
yep.
Yeah. I remember we were tuning between like every other take.
Yeah.
I was pretty anal about. I'm not crazy about anal about guitar tuning, but if it's something like this where the song opens with a guitar part, it's very spacious and you can hear it. And the way I guess I think about it is if you put headphones on, does anything take you all out of it, basically?
Totally.
Right.
Totally. Especially when there's a lot of like spatial effects on it.
Yeah. I think this is just the default Corey Wong plugin. I don't think I changed anything. I just thought it sounded good. So that's that. And I think there's some delay here. And I did this again. All of these are all dry wet. That's the good old Echo Boy.
That's on a memory mat, yeah. You can hear that.
Memory Man. Yep. So they're panned hard left together. And then you can hear again, I've got the reverb track. And that's sort of roomish. It's not very long. It's just a bit of room to help push it back in the mix from memory. So.
That's also like when you open the FabFilter Pro R reverb, that's what it's on.
Yeah,
Like I think
I'm pretty sure.
again we do our prep like on the way in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It just, it just goes, yeah, cool. All right. I just need it to be a little bit further back in the mix. Oh, good. Put some reverb on it. Yep. Great. Fine. Like I don't overthink it. It really isn't necessary, especially if it's a utilitarian thing. The drum, like for example, the drum reverb, that was very, okay, I'm thinking conceptually here. I want to try and make it work in the track. This is just tool belt stuff. Let's just make it go back.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I was thinking. We got some little plucky things going on here.
Yeah, it's watery. It's kind of lugubrious and a bit slippery.
Lugubrious, slippery is incredible.
You know, there's some kind of, yeah. As in there's no like modulation on those other guitars. They're really clean.
Yeah, they are. They're super clean sounding. This one's got, that sounds like a phaser. So that's just doing this, if we play it from here. Very subtle in the whole mix.
We swam on through the water. They told me how to breathe. It was here.
It's just this would have been a little overdub idea.
Yeah, and I think because I was on tour at the time when I was getting mixes, I only had headphones, or I could plug my phone into the console and hear it through the PA of a massive venue, which is not helpful. So I think some of these decisions, I was probably just had headphones really cranked in a tour bus.
That makes sense.
I'm hearing parts like that.
You're hearing the parts like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving along. This is more overdub stuff. Ooh. And it's all printed again. And that to me sounds like, again, just like the Corey Wong cloud reverby kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, just big. The positive thing with dry wet, I guess, is that it really allows you a lot of control with your depth and your space, which, again, for this record in particular, because there's a lot of elements to manage, and I really wanted the soundstage to be super clearly defined, I guess. Verse 2 guitar. Yep, another doubling thing. Yep, cool. So just an octavey kind of double of what's going on with the main guitar, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, the bass has gone to eighth notes there, right?
That's right.
So I guess it's just kind of like being in a register that's staying out of the way, but just reinforcing. Again, because the drums are less consistently on that eighth note thing, I guess just reinforcing that without relying on a kick. Just
It's more like a tambourine.
Totally is.
It's like a tambo.
Totally, because it's pretty scooped, yeah.
Yeah, it's very scooped.
Yeah.
It's very small. Hell yeah. So that's all the clean guitars. Obviously, I come from like a rock metal background, and then I got into jazz and really got into that later. And I feel like that one of the things that I gained was this big appreciation for the power of a distorted guitar. Like it's really way bigger of a thing than I think. If you've been doing a lot of rock and you're just like, yeah, cool, this, pan hard left, pan hard right, double this, and you're making these big wall of guitar things all the time, you can kind of get a bit desensitized to it. And then you do a project like this and you play like a power chord with a bit of gain on a distorted guitar and you're like, whoa.
That's it. It's the difference between something that's really clean.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you're pushing it a little bit,
It's-
there's heaps of power in it.
The contrast is like crazy, which makes sense. That only happens, look, we got first chorus here, we get this. And it's like barely distorted.
That's like how clean guitar sounded in the 70s.
The main guitar is panned left, right? All this clean stuff is panned left. Heavy on the left, so then this balances it a little bit. But then second chorus. Yeah.
But frequency-wise, like even on the distorted parts where things have room,
Yeah.
they're not big chords.
No, they're all really small chords.
They're like diads or triads and they're out of the way.
Yeah, two or three note things tops, right? Yeah, I agree. And as soon as you have a piano,
Oh yeah, and they're warm chords.
Yeah.
They're
you've got to fit it in. So we have, and then we have also got this. Yo. So that's a double. Again, and we've double tracked it. You can see that the waveforms are different. That sounds like it's got reverb printed onto it, and then, Sans Amp. Just distort the crap out of it. And then, and we got this.
The War on Drugs. It was called the War on Drugs guitar on
Yeah.
my demo session.
Yeah, that's the War on Drugs guitar.
Yeah.
Let's play this second chorus now with everything. I'll just play it all. That's fine.
I don't think I'm heading back up to the surface. I found my place of hiding. There's nothing there I'd rather fear. No, not the sun or not the air. I'm down here incubating. Into my eyes, a vision of a
So it's funny, you know, in context, it's subtle, but if you start taking stuff out, you really can tell. You know, I'll mute this stuff. I'll leave the high part in, but.
I don't think I'm headed back up to the surface. I found my place of hiding. There's nothing there I'd rather fear. No, not this side.
The ambient level of excitement just increases a little bit. It's just a little bit, you know, it's just inches and degrees. And when you're listening to this as a listener, you know, you're just going through all these little choices, they add to the subconscious feeling of we're moving, we're going somewhere, bigness or whatever. It just enhances the story.
Especially like the biggest part of the song is after this whole thing ends and you don't know any more's coming. And then there's this whole outro.
Yes.
So it's sort of trying to make it sound like this chorus is the peak.
All right, then we're heading to the outro now. So let's just play I'll play this in its entirety,
Yeah.
I think.
Finally, ascension, a journey divine, an illuminated path, a light of the sky, an embraced future, an unshackled past. Finally, a wind of change, a thought of the grave. Finally, toward a sacred place, an eternal day. Destroy my earthly chains. Finally.
Cool. What have we got? We've got again the dry wet thing. Oh yeah. So I use this plugin a lot. I think I discovered it during these sessions. I can't remember how I found out about it, but really good convolution reverb thing, and it just has some of the most interesting. It's almost like it meant for Foley or like post production.
Totally. It's very post production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of these like living room, you know, like it's awesome. Soundly, place it. Not sponsored. Hit me up. Free plugin too, I think. Yeah, it's completely free.
Yeah, it is.
It's awesome. It's ridiculously awesome. I
Yeah.
used it a lot. So yeah, living room 1. And then once we get the double hook on the right hand side. Yep. And then again, that's probably just, I don't know what the guitar this would have been.
It was a Gretsch.
It was your Gretsch, was it?
We used my silver like Gretsch Jet
Yeah, Jet Duo or whatever it's
thing.
called.
Yeah.
Cool.
And actually we used like a pedal board as well. I think I used a Bondi overdrive.
Oh, yeah. There's like the blue one or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all the guitars. So although it seems like there's a truckload of guitar tracks, because most of them are dry wet, including overdubs, really there's only about like 4 main guitar parts.
There's not many parts at all.
And they're all, the key part, I guess, is when we were having the discussion about arrangement and everything is, for the most part, it's literally, you can just play it with 2 people and it will sound 90% like this track.
Yeah.
Which is an important thing, I feel. Cool. Piano, full disclosure, this was a MIDI performance. It was played by Felix.
Felix Bornhold.
Bornhold.
There's a main piano part, which also Felix just played it in. It wasn't super dictated. I mean, yeah, that guy and I have a extremely close musical relationship.
Yeah, you've been playing together for so long.
Yeah, and we screen compose together and blah, blah, blah. So,
Yeah.
he's kind of my better half musically, so I don't think I said anything. I mean, he's an incredible
Amazing player.
piano player, and I think it can be tempting to do it yourself because it's MIDI anyway. So
Yeah.
you're like between us playing and writing, but you need to get
It's
the
really
person with the touch.
Yeah. I've only done getting people over here to do MIDI keys, and then that's going to be the sound for the record a few times. But the way that I don't change how I think about it, I record takes of MIDI. I don't really touch or edit the MIDI if I can help it. I barely touch it. I think what I do is after I've done that and we've comped all the takes together, is I spend, like a few hours printing it down, and now it's audio. And
Totally.
Because I just don't want to get into touching the MIDI because you can just go insane.
And it's not that.
Yeah,
It's not that.
it's not that. So this This is Piano Tech. I like Piano Tech a lot, mainly because you can move virtual mics around. It also just sounds fantastic, frankly. So that's what this is. This is for copying what I do if I'm doing normal piano recordings, frankly.
Yeah.
It's what, 5 mics set up. I've got 2 pencil condensers of some sort of where the strings cross over the soundboard roughly. And then I put some large diaphragm towards the end to try and get some bass resonance of the longer strings, and that's always going to be mono, and then I put a stereo room mic up of some sort, and that's it. And this is exactly what you see here. There's a fair bit of processing, to be fair. It's very compressed, but so it goes. Sounded good.
There's a pedal note. I'm just noticing how many parts we've left a pedal note in.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like every part that moves is grounded by something that doesn't move.
Yeah. Mono. And then the room microphone. And you can see there's it's almost an equal blend of the direct mic and the room microphone, and the loudest one's actually the mono microphone, which is interesting. So this is all of them. And there's some delay, I've got a bit of delay on all the time. And then just for this first verse, I used, I think it's the Spitfire felt piano. And then just used only the first verse for it. We had it in there for one of the 2 mixes, but it just wasn't cutting for the rest of it. And I tried to do a thing where, I tried to dry wet them both. It's just a phase nightmare. It just made it sound insane.
I think as you're saying,
different things,
trying to use MIDI stuff, but as if it was realistic.
Yeah.
We're not going to have 2 different pianos.
No.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's like we're LARPing as if we have big budget.
Oh, yeah, yeah, 80s touring band style where the keyboard guy's on a rolly chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the felt piano. All the pedal noise turned up a lot. And then it turns into the regular piano. So I should listen to where they swap over.
That's a great way of a little gear change halfway through a verse because obviously on guitars, it's a lot easier to physically open them up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really do that with a piano very much unless you do something really ham-fisted with some filter or something, which I'm sure I tried. Let's listen to that in context for a second.
A friendly pair of eyes appear. We swam on through.
So I think conceptually, again, because it's like you're in a cave, there's this metamorphosis kind of narrative going on where we're literally going through this cave kind of vibe, this journey like that. I really just made everything in this first verse sound very submerged, and then we open it up. And I really wrote open, and we stay above ground for sort of the rest of it a little bit. But that's the piano. I might just take a very short second to talk about the processing. The EQ is whatever. I'm not going to worry about that. But there is a lot of compression here, and it's all dry wet compression. 33609, which isn't doing an awful lot until it becomes the regular piano. Well, actually, no, there's actually less on that. Maybe there's more here. Yep. Stay level, very, very tiny amount. It's almost doing barely anything. Whatever. And then this is the big one. This is basically OTT. You know
vocal slammage, yeah.
Yeah, you know what OTT is.
Yep.
And that's the thing. When you've got a mix like this and it's fairly dense, I really want the piano to really just have as much juice out of it as possible. When I hear it, I want to hear the piano as best I can. So you end up compressing it a fair bit. So cool. That's the piano. Synths. So this is from the demo. This.
Yeah,
stuck
it
around.
is. It is.
I remember. So we have. Sounds like a Juno.
Yeah.
Something like a Juno.
Yeah.
What have I got here? What is this? Oh, Filter Freak. Sure. Yeah. So this is me being setting up my SSL and then just writing in the automation data. That's why I set up the 360 link there, so I can just turn some knobs. So that's where you can see the automation here is a bit scraggly because we're literally turning knobs.
Yep.
So that's that. Looks simple enough. It's there just to help push sections up and down.
It's a pad that opens, yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, that
maybe. Or
the
is it-
very, very last thing we hear, that piano chord,
Oh yeah.
is cool.
I remember he played this take, and then just the resonances and everything was stacking up, and it just ended up stacking up in this really interesting way. And then we just
It would have been both of us going,
it's
yeah. Yeah. It almost sounds like everyone's cut out, but someone's just, foot's on the pedal. There's one more song after it on the EP.
yeah,
The song after it starts with solo piano.
yes,
So I think it's just a nice kind of bridging thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's true. Getting there now. We have trombone.
Trombone.
So Nick, you're a trombone player.
That's kind of my first thing.
This is your first thing.
I love the trombone. I really love it. It's just a unique instrument, isn't it? Like it's got a big register, but it's also kind of like the male voice.
Yeah,
It's also doesn't have frets. It's super expressive, and I also just think it records nicely. Like it doesn't have the presence of higher brass like a trumpet. You can send it far back and it doesn't seem to clash with even things in its own register. It's kind of a sine wavy thing. It like takes to processing really well, and I also just really love it and wanted to play it on a song somewhere. So I think I was just in my bedroom and I just hit record and just did it like an improvised take, and that's kind of just what it is.
because this was present in the demo.
Yeah.
Simple.
It would have been not a good microphone in not a good room. I can actually hear that's my old horn as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredibly DIY. I remember I didn't have a microphone stand in my room at the time because I just moved. So I think it was like hanging on a music stand and I was sort of arched over doing something. But it's fine. It will get drenched anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Well, speaking of which, yeah, there's a bit of delay on it. That's for sure. Yep, some delay. And I think instrument verb, I'm guessing that's a few things are being sent here, so there might be a few other. Oh, it's very subtle. It's mostly delay. I do some pan automation. I guess technically it starts closer to center, and then it leans back over to make room for everything else.
Finally, ascension.
And now it's on the right. Bit of space creating. Cool. I think that's all the instruments. Now it's just all vocal.
Might seem like a bit, but it's not that much.
Yeah, I reckon we'll go. Why don't we the main vocal for a second? It's just recorded Kiln Studios in Sydney. It's a 67.
Yeah.
memory?
We did a microphone shootout that morning.
Yeah, that's right. We had a Manly Reference Gold. We had my Nude 251 Elam copy. Really great mic. And then we had 67. And then I feel like,
Is there an 87 or something?
no, I feel like there was I put up some dynamic. Like, I generally want to, if I'm doing a mic shootout, I put up like it was probably an SM7B. Yeah.
It was an SM7B.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we recorded. And then we went blind and we just went, let's each pick which one we think sounds good. And I think we both thought
67.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a good 67 too. It sounds nice.
Yeah.
Sounds very nice.
I fell into a hole, descended for many years.
Cool. Bit of compression on there and stuff. 1176 LA2A. It's the standard fast, slow,
Yep.
like really simple. Not much that to write home about. Frankly, like it's there, and then there's some very, very subtle soothe on the whole thing. So be it. Chill. The actual thing about it, I think, I remember I spent a good amount of time on, is all of the vocal effects, because that's where so much of the narrative got reinforced. I spent quite a lot of time on those. I remember just making interesting sounds and just doing stuff. So look, there's standard like throws and things, of course. There's all that kind of thing. That's all pretty normal. But it's when we get into the second verse where stuff gets interesting. Look at the name of the track. Waterfolk. Because let's just we'll play the track for a second and you'll get an idea. And maybe have a listen to those lyrics.
They told me of their stories and underground memories. Pure tranquility, hidden for centuries through the stuff.
So it's like literally you go underwater and you're like conversing with these.
Yeah, some sort of civilization underwater.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, what would they sound like?
Yeah.
That was my idea. And I was like, gills, kind of fish people, whatever. So I was like, sweet. Well, this is what I came up with.
Well, a super fast flanger.
Yeah. I just screwed around with the good old free M flanger and then just compressed the snot out of it. And that's that.
MV2, great plugin.
Yep. MV2.
Awesome. What are you doing? Yep, nice.
Classic. Just
Yep.
really simple. But I really feel like once I put that in there, I feel like the track mix-wise and just story-wise, it all started to open up for me for whatever reason. I don't know.
Totally.
It's hard to explain exactly what was going on, but that was it. I was like, the arc all makes sense. By the time you've heard the first verse and the first chorus, you've really got to try and keep selling why you listen to the thing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's why the second verse, I just really had to do something to push it forward vocally. And so that's what I did. As we get into the next chorus, we get a slap now.
Back up to the surface, I found my place of hiding.
Super distorted.
Back up to the surface, I found my place of hiding. There's nothing there I'd rather fed, no.
Just to push it again.
Nice. That's great.
So we'll go now. We've heard a bit of a lead vocal. Let's go back to the BVs. So just regular harmony track here.
Back up to the surface, I found my place of hiding. There's nothing there I'd rather fed, no, not the sun or not the air. I'm down here incubating.
All fourths. Sounds very fourths.
Yeah, I think just there's so much like parallel and just generally stepwise movement happening in all the parts and the vocals.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially right there at the end.
Yeah.
Fourth is.
I think people get a bit tempted with BVs to just chuck like a third
doing
harmony
a
and
third
being
up or
parallel
down.
and whatever.
Yes.
Instead of like it's its own kind of melodic. It's almost like a big band writing thing, right? Where every harmony line has to be its own strong melody.
Strong melody.
Yeah.
It reminds me, it's so ubiquitous now, but Black Star by David Bowie.
Totally.
He does the fourth thing. And it's a really particular sound, but I really like it. I really, really like it. And we just got a regular double. Looks like I did a bit of fake spreading of the double here because, I don't know, I just felt like I wanted a little bit of stereo width, but I didn't want to have to stuff around. It's just so buried in there. It just helps push.
Back up to the surface, I found my place of hiding.
So subtle. Cool, and let's move along. We get to the second chorus, and now it starts getting big.
Hold your breath with me. I don't think I'm heading back up to the surface. I found my place of hiding. There's nothing there I'd rather fear. No, not the sun or not the air. I'm down here incubating.
Cool.
Crunchy.
Nice.
Hold your breath with me.
Hey.
I don't think I'm heading.
So that's me.
Nice.
Lot of tune on. But yeah, so I guess we're all in here. It's you and me, and we're just, there's some thirds now. And do we have what else?
I don't think I'm heading back.
That's you again. I think we're doubling each other.
I don't think I'm heading back up to the surface. I found my place of hiding.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
we're doubling each other. And because I guess it's two different voices, it makes it sound...
Huge tonal difference.
Yeah, it's massive, the difference. I feel like it really, really helps make the thing sound a lot fatter and larger. And
It
it's
almost-
just
yeah.
me and you. Like, it's not a huge amount, but it sounds really big.
It almost sounds an octave apart. Like they're really, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess you're
Very
more of
for
a
presence.
baritone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I'm
not
a
a
bit
bit
more
of
of a tenor.
nothing. Yeah.
A bit more of a tenor, so I guess I just have a little bit thinner vocal mass than you do. So it makes sense why we have that big
Yeah.
tonal change, you know? So we're continuing along the trend of vocal effects being a big thing. For this last big word, rising, I wanted it to be a big moment.
I venture in, the air becomes thin. I'm rising, ubiquitous me.
So this rising thing.
Yeah.
And I wish I could tell you what that is. I'm guessing it's Audio Thing Texture is the name of the plugin.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It has this, you can blend reverb or granular effects into it. It sounds like granular reverb to me. And then there's one other big effects thing I remember doing. It's really where I think it all goes a bit crazy. So we got slap. We have the spoken word.
Yeah, so there's spoken word is the main thing. And then there's kind of BV things. There's like a background vocal melody that's got a harmony. But then you kind of did a bunch of stuff. It gets more saturated and wetter and intense as it goes on. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So let's just listen to that. Let's go from here.
Finally, ascension, a journey divine, an illuminated path, a light of the sky, an embraced future, an unshackled past. Finally.
So, okay, we have that We Can Rest going on. And the reason why you don't hear anything is because, or at least initially, that's being sent pre-fader to this effects here. So it's only appearing completely wet. So it's very far away. So I just wanted this back and forward motion where it feels like the choir or something is far away.
Totally.
And then the whole point of this section is literally you're talking about like rising, ascending.
Totally.
So it is kind of like big and biblical.
Yeah, it is. It is totally big, biblical.
Yeah, we were rising and getting higher and higher and higher.
And actually, we didn't have legibility of the spoken bits. That wasn't super important.
No, I remember you talked about that. You're like, I'm not
I was almost more comfortable if it was less
less
clear.
legible.
Yeah.
Which is, I remember we were pushing back and forward about that. I kind of wanted to be like, I want to hear what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you were like loud and dry, and I was like,
And
no.
you're like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to hear me. But so we sort of, I don't know if it's necessarily a compromise position, but It is your record, of course. I'm going to ultimately do what you asked me.
You were pushing me for me though,
Yeah. I wanted people to be like, I can tell what you're saying and like whatever. But I did appreciate that you wanted it to be a fairly the degree of conceptualness, which is not a word, but you know what I mean? Just a little bit more than
it's abstracted. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had this thing, which I remember again I was pretty stoked with. This is like my thinking was I call it angels because again, like, biblically Ezekiel is kind of tripped out. He's literally almost seems like he's tripping out. He's like seeing flaming eyes and stuff.
Yeah, we talked about Ezekiel a lot as two complete non-believers.
As biblical enthusiasts.
yeah.
We talked about it a bit, but yeah, that's what I was going for. I was like, this almost unknowable voice of God thing, like kind of breaking your brain almost. That's what this sound is trying to be like. So it's just like simple. It's actually not that crazy.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of wow and flutter. And it's some distortion. There's a bit of digital stuff and a bit of reverb. It's just all this RC20. Great plugin.
Yeah.
I think beforehand I did a bunch of doubles. I think I put my voice in there. Then I did some like little altar boy pitch shifting stuff. Yeah, I have them here even, all the commits. And I think that's going to say little altar boy. Sure does.
Yep.
There it is. And then that's just me mixing it together and just committing it down to a stereo track, so it's simple. So there you go. There's some evidence of like, I guess technically pre-mix sessions, I guess, that just hang around into the final mix session. So that's that. And then I guess the only other thing to talk about really for me is just like some general mixy stuff. I try and make sure everything is all, for the most part, bussed together. And the only exceptions are if they are solitary on their own and they don't really need to be with anything else. Like you can see them here. There's the main acoustic guitar is on its own. Trombone is on its own. That's fine. Otherwise, it's all in folder tracks to try and keep things really simple. I do a routing thing where I have it so that I print directly into the session, just as a way to get around some of the quirks of doing an offline bounce. Otherwise, probably people are going to want to know about, like, I don't know, my chain. It changes all the time. That's my general overall bus compressor, the Shadow Hills. Multiband? Interesting. I do have it actually side chaining very subtly to the kick drum. I think it in the overall scheme of things, it does help with the low end, and I'm a bit of a, I've done so much pop and R&B and bass heavy music that some habits die hard. I just really like to have a really, really punchy, controlled low end. Some EQ, sounds like this. Just adds top end.
Yeah.
Just brightens it up a bit. And then this is a constant, I just never I have all this stuff on and I just mix through it 9 times out of 10. Yep. Tape plugin, can't live without it. It just sounds great.
Sounds actually, the hi-hats sound really good through that.
Yeah, so I think this is 15 nips. So there is some EQ going on. It's shelving it up a bit.
Yeah,
it just fills it out. It just sounds fuller and richer. It's just a more better switch. Really, it just sounds great. But that honestly, it is what it is. The only thing I guess I do is it's very, very tiny here. This is a VCA. I have the entire mix routed. I'm being controlled by this VCA, and then what that does is that when we get into the choruses, I have it come up by 0.4 dB here, second chorus 0.9. It drops down in the outro and then comes back up, and I actually literally build it up slowly. So that all it does is it just pushes a little bit harder into the compression on the master bus, and it just feels a bit more exciting to me. That's all it's doing.
Totally.
I'm not trying to get volume out of it.
Of what lies beneath.
And you can make an argument like, well, of course, there's more stuff happening in the chorus, but this is, again, like at the mix stage, we've done all this work earlier. You've written a great song for a start. You know, you've done all of this work. You've done pretty much all the arranging anyway, like for the most part. The actual thing that's going in is just good. I've done, you know, the best job that I can, getting great performances and capturing that and sort of producing your vocal, producing the recording session, just getting the stuff in. All the stuff beforehand, you know, that's why I guess in my system, the earlier you are, the more stuff you can do, the more flexibility you have. So by the time you get to this mixing step, ultimately everything, the theme that I guess is overarching is that everything is like this 5, 2, 3, 4% moves that just add up to this totality of something that you're trying to go for at the end.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you had no processing and we played it live, the people that recorded that day, it would still be this song.
Yes. You could still recognize it. It's just, it would be maybe like a 20 or 30%. This is a lot better. You know?
Yeah, and just
That's
way
the
less
plan.
immersive and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like that everything would still be there.
Yes. You know, it's no surprise that if you listen to anniversary editions of certain classic records and you listen to like demos, they often put demos on there and you listen to them and you can enjoy them just the same.
Totally.
And I think there's a really good reason for that. It's because it's pretty much already all there.
Yeah. We talked a lot about like the DNA of a song
Yes.
and like what matters.
Yes. It is all the stuff that happens before that actually determines the success of something. The mix just is able to bring out something that is already latently present, you know?
Yeah, I mean, once we had done that recording day and basically confirmed, yes, things were recording when we pressed record,
Yeah.
it was kind of like pressure largely off.
Yeah, I felt
Right?
pretty simple.
No surprises from there on.
Yeah.
And we had done the work. Like, everyone had been sent demos and stuff. Josh kind of wrote charts. We'd gone through like what bass, what drum kits do we want to use. We knew parts. We knew how we were going to track, what we were going to track to. Yeah. As you're saying, we did all the stuff we had to do before the day.
Yeah.
And then the day became like, is everyone comfy? Does anyone want a coffee?
Yeah.
Let's have a few runs at this thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's everything. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Awesome.